Hi there and welcome or welcome back to the Treehouse. My name's Ree, this is the Tarot Tree, and today I'm going to be doing a VR response to Sylvain's Deadly Sins tag, 7 decks for deadly sins, hence the atmosphere right now. But first and foremost, I just want to thank all the new subscribers. It's been a joy to see this channel grow, even though I haven't put out too many videos yet. It was really cool to connect with so many of you via Katie Flowers tag 10 decks. So that's been great, really nice to interact with a lot of you, and I look forward to doing more so in this year. But without further ado, let's jump into this VR to Sylvain. First of all, I just want to give him his flowers. Here is a rose for you, Sylvain. I can't pick it up because I'm precious about my display, but you get the gist. They're all for you. A really great channel, a really I think an unintentionally funny guy, which is usually my favourite kind of funny. Really gave me a giggle recently when he was talking about the unnecessary use of ribbons in tarot boxes. So yeah, I'm sure a few of those sort of ribbon serpents are gonna jump out of some of our tarot boxes today, so watch out for that. But yeah, I just thought this was a really cool tag to do. Bit different, a bit saucy. It really makes us think. I really like the prompts, and I really like the openness, for us to interpret them in different ways. So without further ado, oh, by the way, this is Albert. He's going to be our impish, grumpy companion through the infernos of Dante. He's going to accompany us as we make our way through the rings and sins of hell and see what we can pull up in terms of tarot decks today. So without further ado, let's get into it. First up, we've plunged into the first ring and we've found the deck of pride. My deck of pride. And that would be the Blackwater Tarot by Noah Rogers. This is an indie deck, handcrafted beauty, and hence the reason why it has pride of place in my collection. I chose it for this prompt, which was a deck that you're meant to be using for flexing or something that makes you feel prideful. Is that the word? I'm making up words now potentially. And this was the first one that came to mind. I don't have any decks that I really like, very sought after or out of print, but this is, has been quite limited in how many have been created thus far, I think, and I genuinely believe there won't be many made due to its sort of handcrafted artisan, handmade kind of nature. And I love that, to be honest, because don't we all? The magpie in me loves rare things, that might be something I have to work on. But yeah, it is handmade, as I said. I think a lot of work went into this. You can tell the craftsmanship. It might not be the most practical deck, but who cares about practicality when you have beauty and pride? And I also picked it because, let's move the box out of the way. This is the one, if you saw this displayed, on my display, this is the first one that people's eyes are drawn to. Oh, what's that? It looks beautiful. They're intrigued by it. It's got that artisan vibe of its own homemade box. And I like that. It's nice to have it on display. It's nice to use for me. I do use it. It's workable. It's handmade. Got such cool images here. That strength card, one of my favorites. 2 of Swords. It's just such a beautiful deck, and I'm very glad that I have it in my collection. I don't really have any other out of print kind of coveted decks, but I have this, and I'm very proud of it, even though I didn't create it, but the person who did should also be, Pride apparently is the deadliest of all the 7 sins. It comes before many a fool, as they say, or many a fool's journey. But yeah, ooh, everything's getting spooky here. The lights are going crazy. We may have some supernatural occurrences happening here, but okay. So yes, that would be the Blackwater Tarot for Pride. Can be found on Etsy. I'll list everything below if any of you are interested. Very dark, kind of macabre deck. Don't know if I'd flex. I'm not someone that's like, oh look what I've got, but I'll definitely, you know, give me, I'll see it on the side, you know, in my display. Be like, oh yeah, that one's nice, and not many people have it, so yeah, the collector in me is quite chuffed by that. So the Blackwater Tarot, that is my deck choice for Pride. So we shall chuck you back down into the infernos from whence you came. Yes, Blackwater Tarot, be gone. So next up, as you reach into the second ring of hell and pull up a deck, we pull up the Offering of Greed. Okay, a deck that we will not share with anyone, which is an interesting prompt for me, because I don't have a problem with using a deck to read for anyone myself, but I feel like I have about 2 or 3 decks that I'm quite precious about, and I would probably be quite tentative if I was to hand them over to another person. Actually no, I wouldn't want someone else to touch them, I'll be really honest. And regain some of my virtue here by being so. And my pick for that has to be, you know, as some of the other 2, you know, I'd say 3 decks I have that kind of might fit into that category. They're featuring in other prompts, so it would have to be this, which is probably my most special, and this is the Lord of the Rings independent tarot from Etsy. Oh, what a great that's a very fitting picture, isn't it? 5 of Staves, and that's where Isildur has failed to chuck the ring away because of greed, actually, isn't it? That's great. I love that synchronicity. So yeah, it's just so special to me. It's such a beautifully thought out deck. You know, it's quite, you know, relatively expensive. It's an indie deck as well, so I guess that kind of holds some weight in me not really wanting to share it willy-nilly. But it means a lot to me. The Lord of the Rings is a story that I loved. I've grown up with. The films is something that I've grown up with, watched, you know, hundreds of times, near enough probably by now. It's a story that resonates with me very strongly. Oh, look at that 3 of Swords have given me there. It's just a beautiful deck. It reads very well, and because I have such a connection to the story and characters, you know, it's very personal to me. Like, it helps me understand what I'm asking in a more profound way, because I can attach it to these characters and stories. And to be honest with you, The Lord of the Rings is something that I'll go back to a lot when I'm in down times. It's sort of my pick-me-up movie or like story. Really and truthfully, it's something me and my dad share. I feel like when anyone's down in my family, it's like, come on, crack the Lord of the Rings on, let's get some hope, you know, look at what they got through, we can get through these sort of pitfalls of life. So yeah, that's why I love it so much, and that's why I cover it so much, and I don't want to share it. It's my precious, you know. As our friend the Golem would say. Where is he? It'd be funny if he popped up now. Yeah, I don't want to give this away, much like many characters in this do not want to be parted from the Ring of Power. I shall not be parted from this deck. So yeah, that would be my pick. Oh, there he is, he's showing up now, the devil. My pick for Greed. Let's just find him while we're here, eh? Where is Mr. Gollum? Where is he? There he is. To end it on that. So very well illustrating the 4 of Pentacles there. That coveting, that inability to let go. Don't touch, like a child that does not want to share their toys. This is what this deck is to me. And so without further ado, Albert, we need to chuck him back down into the rings of hell. With that, goodbye, be gone. Diving deep into the infernos of hell, Albert and I have just reached down and picked up this offering, which seems quite in contrast to the prompt it is fitting. And this is the deck for Wrath, or Wrath. I don't know how to say it. I say Wrath. So that's what we're going with. And yeah, a deck that you're angry at. Yeah, I would say angry. I think probably the more fitting kind of emotion would probably be disappointment, which is arguably kind of more painful to kind of be on the receiving end of than anger at times, right? Oh, I'm disappointed in you. Yes. Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tori Hartman. I am very disappointed in you, but also face my wrath. The reason being, I had such high hopes for this deck because of it just marries two things that I absolutely adore. You know, parables, storytelling, like stories with lessons, and the chakras. You know, there's something that I'm learning, and I'm kind of really diving into deep with my own healing journey at the moment. And I just thought this deck seemed amazing. You know, she has a book that goes along with it that you can kind of do a kind of deep dive and exploration, like a journal. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get the book, everything, I'm down for this. This seems so cool. And it just came up so flat for me because really and truthfully, what I really struggle with this deck is the stories themselves. I don't know if anyone else, I feel like this is a beloved deck, you know, it's a classic one. There's the book there. I wasn't a big fan of the artwork either, but I was willing to overlook that when I saw a few people mention some of the stories in his. So some of them, you know, are good, but from what I've gleaned so far on a lot of them, I just find them very hard to grasp. For me, if you're going to have a parable, that sounded like I just made up a flower name, a parable, or you know, kind of fable or something of that nature, you know, a story with lessons that we can attach to these cards to help us understand what they mean when we pull them, etc. You know, to understand their kind of connection to the chakras, whatever. We need to be able to understand it. Okay, it doesn't have to be, you know, plain as day. It can be something that opens up ourselves to reflection for sure, but it's just the stories, a lot of the stories in this I struggle with because they're so unclear. There is no space for reflection. The waters are so muddy, you can't see your reflection in these, in my opinion. And I'm gonna try and work with it some more. So, you know, if anyone has any, I don't know if anyone else has felt this with this deck. I've seen some people say they struggled with the stories also. But please tell me, like, if I should be giving it another go. Do you know what the stories remind me of? It's like when you're trying to remember a dream and then you're trying to piece it together in the, you know, the light of day, and everything just seems all disjointed, or like there was meant to be a meaning or purpose behind it, but you can't grasp what that meaning is. And that's my issue with it. I would very much think it would be more useful if the meaning could be grasped. And look, some of these are such, you know, have great potential for being stories, but I do feel like some of them are unfinished. And, you know, that was something that really drew me to this. They were meant to be channeled stories that Tori said were given to her, I think, as a child by I don't know if they're angelic beings or something, you know, from the other realms. And they were meant to, like, help us with healing. And I thought, that's beautiful, that's right up my street. That, you know, I'm on a healing journey. And I've seen these used on certain tarot readers' cards, and certain ones definitely had quite interesting. This was actually a story that I think actually when a tarot reader described what the story was about, it kind of made sense to me. But looking through the book myself, I was just really struggling. It's like, what's the point of the story? What is the pièce de résistance, the lesson, you know? Where's give me an Aesop fable, you know? I would love a deck with that, you know, that would be great for this. I just really struggled. I just keep going through them. They are actually, you know what, I don't hate the artwork as much as I thought I did. So I'm not angry at it as much as I thought I was. But it just wasn't what I wanted it to be, unfortunately. Part of me feels like just rewriting the stories myself and giving them that kind of more grounded kind of meaning. I don't know if I'm making much sense here, but you know what I mean. Maybe you don't, but I will try and deliver it better now. you know, rewrite them so they have that kind of easy to grasp message, or just a message that I can fully reflect on. You know, it doesn't have to be so easy to grasp, but it has to be coherent. It sounds bad to say that, but some of them are a bit nonsensical, like they don't follow. Like, it's just like, oh, this person was here and then this happened and this is the lesson you're meant to glean from that. And I'm like, what? How? That's not the lesson I get from that story. I'm really rambling on, but please, you know, if anyone else has worked with this, had the same kind of experience, let me know. Or if you have a better way of working with it, or just even if you have a different opinion to me, I'm just interested to know, because I'm not ready to give up on it yet, but I may just have to modify it. Or maybe I just had to modify my expectations. Maybe my expectations were too high, but I was hella angry at it, I'm not gonna lie, and more so disappointed. So yeah, without further ado, I'm sorry, chakra wisdom oracle cards, you are going back down to the realms of hell. Be gone. Ooh, is that a hue of green I detect? So Albert, we've reached down into the next circle of hell and we have pulled up our offering for envy. And for that, I've had to choose the Blood Moon Tarot. Because let me tell you, when I came to know about this deck, it seemed as though it was too late. You know, I came to the world of tarot a little bit late. I didn't know about Kickstarters or anything of that nature. All I knew was other people had this deck and it seemed very hard to get my hands on it. And let me tell you, the envy that spiked within me watching run-throughs of this on YouTube. Whew! Oh, the pain, the pain. As Dr. Smith once said, it was difficult. You know, I was literally living vicariously through other YouTube tarot tubers, thinking, oh, this is my deck. This deck was made for me. I felt that almost immediately when I saw pictures of it. And the fact that at the time it didn't seem like I'd be able to get my hands on it and it might not be for sale. I struggled with immense envy. Look at it, it's so beautiful. I'll probably describe this close to being a deck that I'll maybe consider a soul deck. I love the kind of botanical elements to it, the dreamy elements to it. I love the depth. It's so rich, so much symbolism, so much to dive into. I cannot wait until the artist actually releases the physical copy of the guidebook to this, because that is immense as well. But yeah, gosh, I was jealous of people that had this deck. And when it came to pass that I could buy this directly from the artist, I was elated. When it turned up, I was like, oh, like this guy, you know, this is how I'm gonna die, knowing I've had this deck, you know. Beautiful. Honestly, if you can get your hands on it and this seems up your kind of street, I don't think you will regret it. You know, the musician in me loves that the cups and renamed songs, and there's, you know, all of the instruments and kind of melody, kind of symbolism running through that. The swords are dreams, pentacles, honey. It's just so rich, so dreamy. Of course it inspires envy. Oh, we even got that card still in there. Get the backs. Whew. That's what I look like, you know, the eye coveting it. Give me this deck. How dare other people have it and I don't? It was made for me. God, I just realised that that's a pomegranate. That's so cool. It's like a Persephone kind of person who has their kind of foot in both worlds. That's so awesome. And this deck is very otherworldly, you know. We've just pulled it from the depths of hell, even though I would say this is more of a heavenly deck for me. But yeah, it's got light and shadow aspects too. So that's great. I think it's easy enough to read if you're kind of just familiar with, you know, the meanings of kind of Rider-Waite-Smith, but there's so much to dive into with this as well. I'm not fully sure what system it's based on. I do get some Rider-Waite-Smith. I'm not really familiar with the toff, what we call a posh person in London, or in English I say thoth. Who knows how you say it, but yeah. Beautiful. Look at the hanged man, snake around him, amazing. So yeah, envy. This was me crying and weeping when I couldn't get my hands on it, but you know, happy as Larry when I finally could. So yes, my deck for envy would be the Blood Moon Tarot. Now you can envy me for having it too, but you know, you can get hold of it now. Just look at Sam Guy's website, so you don't have to deal with the green-eyed monster for much longer. So back down into the depths. Oh, I don't know, do I want to let you go back down into the depths, Blood Moon Tarot? Okay, just for show now, because we have to keep this up for continuity. But yeah, be gone, but come back. Da-na-na-na-na, bum 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 bum. Da-na-na-na-na, bum 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 bum. Next up, sashaying its way out of the depths of hell because it's too hot to handle, even for hell. For our next prompt, lust, I had to choose the Botan Tarot. And you will see why if some of you are not familiar with it. It is an absolutely beautifully aesthetic deck. It's just a beautiful deck. It's so beautiful to look at. The craftsmanship. Oh, and speaking of ribbons that are unneeded, Sylvain, look at this one. This one takes the cream of the crop. Look at this. I don't know what it's meant to be, like a pulley or it's not even attached. Be gone to the depths, serpent. But yeah, I digress. Whew. Our deck for lust right here. Oh my, so pretty. Has to be the Botan Tarot, a very new deck to my collection, as you will see. It's still in order. And much like its prompt, lust, beautiful to look at, very unworkable for me at the moment, as I do not own the zine. And you know, Casper at Boy Diviner, beautiful channel, I really wish to see more from him, was the person that kind of really got me onto this deck and kind of convinced me to buy it, based on the fact that it could be workable with the zine. Sorry, can we just look at the backs as well, please? Oh my goodness, it's such a beautiful, beautiful deck. The artist of this deck, A. Miyako, an American-Japanese artist, I'm fairly sure, you know, really drew on like Japanese folklore for this, and you know, all the kind of Eastern culture. You've got the ginkgo or ginkgo leaves there, I'm fairly sure. It's so beautiful, the watercolors, everything, the linen finish, and so rich. Such beautiful characters. Look at it, so soft in its nature. And you know, I love Japanese culture, to be quite honest with you. I love Japanese folklore. I collect folklore and stories from around the world. As you can see, this is a great book. Definitely get your hands on it if you're interested. I should try and list things down below. And to have a tarot that had that sort of connection, a tarot deck with that connection, is important to me. But like I said, you know, it is a bit unworkable for me at the moment. I guess like I could use it in terms of like just knowing the Rider-Waite Smiths and kind of applying them, but that always leads to a bit of a disconnect with a deck from me, and I don't like reading that way. So I really want to get my hands on the zine, which seems to be quite difficult to get hold of in the UK at the moment. But I just want to, you know, read what these the stories of these characters in this deck is, so I can connect them to, you know, the meanings of the cards, or create new meanings for the cards. I do have a slight issue, the one like they're beautiful cards, like the star, the moon, the sun, you know, so look at them, beautiful. She really does draw on the feminine as well. I think that's a lot of her work, but obviously they don't really have meanings behind them, well, not that I can see now. I feel like with the Botan element there may be some sort of flower language kind of connected to this deck too, which is something I'm really interested in learning this year, so that could be interesting. So yeah, I'm waiting for the zine, so I don't want to just say, oh, this is just a lustful aesthetic deck that is just nice to look at and useless. You know, we're not going to say that at all about it. It's just going to take some work, you know, to use, and it's so precious. It's like a piece of art. I do want to get use out of it, but I'm just really happy to have it, to be honest. You know, I think I just got the last kind of batch of the first editions from Little Red Tarot. So yeah, it's a beautiful deck. Casper the Boy Divine, as I said, like really kind of shone a light on this for me. He really loves this deck. And when he was kind of explaining how he'd read in the zine, like the meanings behind some of these cards and how the characters within the each suit are linked to the court cards, and you can see like the different animals, like you'll see within the queen, the king, etc. These are representations of them, and it's part of their story. Each of those characters' story. Like, what a beautiful Nine of Swords, look. With that feather there, are they really real, or are they just, you know, we can turn them into feathers and we realise it's just about perspective and thought, right? Beautiful. So yeah, that is definitely my choice for lust. It's funny, these 7 deadly sins, speaking of Japanese culture, I don't know if anyone's a fan of anime or manga, but there are a few that draw on the 7 deadly sins, but there's one in particular I'm very fond of because it's the kind of show and story that this is a tangent, but kind of got me into anime and manga, and that is the Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood as the anime, but you know, just Full Metal Alchemist in general is a good one as well. They've made it twice, and there's kind of the antagonists in that are all kind of these sort of made kind of superhuman kind of demon creatures called homunculi, and they're all named after the 7 deadly sins. And Lust, she's a great character in it. Beautiful raven-haired beauty, always causing mischief and kind of seducing many people throughout her kind of reign in the show. So yeah, if that's something you're interested in, check it out, Full Metal Alchemist, you know, just to shout that out. But yeah, the Botan Tarot, so beautiful. Bamboo, one of my favourite plants ever. Oh my god. Okay, I need to stop. I'm ogling over it, lusting over it. Yes. So yeah, to say goodbye, you know. Hate to see you go, but love to watch you leave. That's how I feel about the Botan Tarot. So we'll see you for now. But yeah, I'll be lusting after you and coming back. Be gone. Whew, well, these two are a bit of a burden to pull up, weren't they, Albert? My god, what can I say? It is for Gluttony, so why not have 2, right? So the prompt for this was, show us some decks that you really didn't need but you purchased anyway. And you know, I think a lot of us can say quite a lot of our collections make that up. You know, how many do we really need? There are some that I really would say I do need because they're just so unique and individual and beautiful and I love them. But I have to say, these 2 in particular were just, you know, I've not even worked with them, that's how you know. And I've had them both for quite a while, and that's how you know. So this is just pure Gluttony, you know, and I'm trying not to be so consumerist. Yeah, I say that, but I'm collecting decks like no tomorrow, to be honest with you. But yeah, what can I say? That is the Prisma Visions Tarot is one of my choices, and also the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. So let's firstly look at the Prisma Visions. Okay, my gluttonous picks. I got this, you know, kind of on a whim, kind of feeling a little bit like, oh, let me get it. It's from a seller who was kind of getting rid of some of her decks on Etsy, and I bought something else from her and I just saw it, and this one had really caught my eye because, you know, I like that. I like the artwork. I like the cards put together into a scene. It's so pretty. So I just, like, you know, just on a whim, just got it. And I've yet to work with it. And that's why it's so gluttonous, because it's just here in my collection. It's not been doing much. And hopefully I can change that. Like, how gluttonous can you get? I've got all the extra cards. But yeah. It's a bit of a funny story with this deck, actually, as you'll see. It's all in order because I haven't, there's this authenticity. It's not a fake deck, guys. It does have a funny story to it. As I opened it up, it's still in order, as you will see. That's the extra card Reverie. But my copy actually came with 2 full cards, which I found really quite interesting. So maybe the deck was calling me out and calling me a fool for buying it when I didn't need it, or maybe it's saying it's worth taking the risk, you know, on me. So that's pretty cool. thought that was kind of a funny message. So it had a bit of sass to begin with, and I find that pelican quite sassy, in all honesty, with this Fool card. So yeah, it is a beautiful deck. It's you know, the fact that all the pictures kind of in the minors kind of line up and create a bigger image that kind of creates that story is so beautiful. That storytelling element is something I love within my decks. I love the artwork, even though sometimes it can be a bit difficult to see like certain parts of the art and the figures. You know, I do hope it'd be worth it. I hope that Fool is saying this was a risk well taken, but it's gonna need that temperance, those ways. Such cool interpretations, you know. They're not, they warrant some reflection, but you know, oh, and that devil card, they're worthwhile. So I do think I will be trying to do a deep dive of this, or getting to know it throughout this year. It is one of the decks I actually do want to pick up and actually make use of, so it's not just some kind of gluttonous deck sitting on my shelf getting no love. Oh, look at that devil card. It's so simple and sparse, but so powerful actually. Wow. This reminds me of that pathway in Beauty and the Beast, you know, when you pick the light one or the dark one. It's leading you somewhere. Where is it leading you to? It's alluring like the devil. Interesting. The tower, the house on the cliff. Yeah, there's, I forget, there is some good imagery. I just feel like sometimes this artwork is kind of hard, just a bit murky, that kind of pointillism, or I'm not quite sure. I could, you know, all the artists are just like shaking their heads at me right now. This sun I find really like weird though, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Some of it's quite alien. Judgment's great. I love the idea of doors with that concept. So yeah, I do hope to make it something I can work with. And now we're into the minors, no borders. Very kind of, you have to really look into these images to see some of the figures, because they're so like kind of part of the whole kind of scenery as well. A lot of the time it's kind of hard to make them out, but I think that makes it quite a good deck for like reflection. I don't think this is the kind of deck that you can just, you know, knock out like a Rider-Waite-Smith, to be honest. It does deserve that, and I will definitely try and give it that, and if not, I'll try to rehome it. But yeah, so that's the Prismavisions, my first very gluttonous deck. And next up we have the Cosmic Slumber Tarot. Now, another deck that I didn't need, saw on a tarot reader's channel, was like, oh, I love that, it's so dreamy, let me have it. And haven't worked with at all really, and had it for quite some time, hence why I've put it in this category. What can I say about this deck? It is very dreamy. I do like it. I do need to just get it out more and use it, to be honest with you. I love the colour palette. Oh, look at that Emperor. It's just so like inverted and kind of cool, and like I said, dreamlike. It's called the Cosmic Slumber. Even the name, I love the name. I wanted to try this deck out with a bit of dream work, because I'm someone that has very vivid, quite profound dreams, kind of scary ones a lot of the time. Yeah, I need to kind of work on that, move some of the crystals around that I have near my bed. I think some of them might be amplifying it, but I digress. Yeah, I wanted a kind of deck for that, but I just haven't made use of it yet. I haven't, you know, given it the time it deserves. It just kind of sits on the shelf and gets no love, and I don't like that. I kind of want to get away from that sort of just consumerist collector in me. I want, if I have decks, I want them to be, you know, meaningful to me. I don't want them just sitting around and getting no love or anything like that, or just making my choices when it comes to deck more overwhelming, like what one do I pick, you know, because I am kind of, you know, fixed on what ones I kind of reach for more a lot of the time. So I do want to kind of make room for it in that regard, and I think maybe doing some dream work with it would be really cool. I think it is, you know, quite easy to read off the bat in terms of it has a lot of Rider-Waite-Smith to it. Not completely, but definitely has those recognisable figures here. We've got the High Priestess. I'm not sure if it's a stray clone, it might be. Oh, I really like that. That's actually the first time I've seen that card, that Ace of Torches. That's so cool. And the little figure, like, oh no, maybe it's not. Yeah, no, it is a little figure. First, for a second, I thought, oh, is it just like a little ribbon on it? It is a little figure standing on it with a bigger hand. Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, no, I think I've just convinced myself that my gluttony was worthwhile with this one, so I'll be trying to give it a go. So I'll be trying to give the Cosmic Slumber tarot its, you know, it's just desserts in terms of being used, and also the Prisma Visions. These are two, they're actually both quite two dreamy decks. Maybe I should work with them both for dream work. Oh, that'd be interesting. Maybe have a little pairing going on here. Very, very cool. See what happens when you make videos? The ideas just come. So, you know, gluttony is good, guys. Let's get that extra tray of Krispy Kremes, or don't get them, we don't want knockoff donuts, Krispy Kremes rather. Yeah, so they were my two decks, you know, first prompt of two, because it fit the mold for gluttony. So back down into the depths you go if you can fit, guys. Are you gonna get down there? Are you gonna get stuck in the vacuum? I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling very sloth-like right now. We've finally come to the end of our 7 deadly sins. Quite fitting one, and you know, it's a bit of a drag getting this out, wasn't it, Albert? Yeah, gosh. For our final deck, for sloth, I have chosen the Wisdom from Healing cards by Caroline Miss. I really do enjoy her work, and you know, this is a deck that you use when you're feeling lazy, which for me is quite a lot of the time. I'm quite a terrible insomniac, so I never feel very well rested, but 22 things to work on, 22 things to work on, shall I say? 22, that's about 99 things to work on, but yeah. I digress. I use this deck because, you know, it's an oracle, it's easy for a 1-card pull, and there's not even a guidebook, you know, because everything you need to know is written on the back of the card, and it's just such a beautiful deck. I love the artwork. It's just very warm deck, you know. It's a deck I use, you know, I deal with kind of chronic pain and illness at this moment in time, and I just needed something kind of healing, you know, when I'm just feeling a bit crap and a bit lazy, and this was that. And I think I saw it kind of showcased a bit on Marine from the Ways of Your Soul channel. I absolutely love Marine and her channel. It's just a very, very good channel. If you don't know her already, please check her out. So many good videos, and created her own tag that I definitely want to get involved with soon also. But I digress. Yeah, it's just beautiful. Look at this. Forgive yourself. You have today's lesson that ends. So when I do like a 1-card pull, I can just, you know, that's my focus for the day. If I'm feeling really crap, really lazy, really tired, you know, very fatigued, you know, it's not too much, it's not overwhelming, you know, you just have the prompt on the back, you know. You don't even have to read the back really if you're feeling really lazy. You have the imagery and the kind of keyword at the title on the front to kind of draw upon, you know. I really do like the cards, and there's one in here that I find slightly problematic. I'm not sure, but that could be because I interpret it a weird way. I'm not sure. If we'll get to it, I'll tell you what one, but overall I think the artwork is beautiful. It's very easy, very intuitive for me, it is very healing, you know. It's a healing deck, that's what it's made for. The prompts are very simple, you know, just gives you, you know, a goal at the end, your goal to understand that all experiences either make you bitter or better. What's that? Examine unfinished business, you know, finding perspective. It's just, yeah, it's a great deck. I don't see it spoken about so much in terms of her decks. I think a lot of people kind of seem to have, you know, her archetypes deck and things like this, but you don't always see this one knocking about. So, you know, if I can bring it to anyone else's attention, and, you know, you're a little bit of, you know, someone that needs that kind of deck for just, you know, when you don't have the time, or, you know, the kind of energy to be sitting and doing a whole tarot spread, etc., or you just need a quick pick me up or something to get you through, you know, when you don't have the attention span, this is great. and you just need a little bit of a hug from a deck. You know, I say hug, you know, some of them are kind of hard hitting as well, I'm not going to lie, but it is overall like quite a nurturing deck, you know. She has a little card, you know, that kind of talks about healing from what she believes in her perspective, which is really cool. It's only short, but it's great. I'm fairly sure she's written quite a few books as well that I might want to get your hands on. This was the one that came up for me a lot this week, actually. I found it so cool, this sort of character trying on all these different hats. You know, choose to empower yourself. And I can just put my card up like in my card stand, like, and have it there for the day, you know, or pull one for the week if it's too much to be doing it for a daily draw. So yeah, that would be my deck. For Sloth, Caroline misses Wisdom for Healing cards, and with that we shall say goodbye and send you back to the depths slowly. Okay, take your time, it's alright. So guys, that was my 7 decks for Deadly Sins. I want to thank Sylvain once again for this tag. It was really, you know, a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of fun watching them throughout the holiday period too. I found some right gems, and I had a good laugh, especially when people were talking about their Wrath decks, you know. What can I say? Thanks for watching. I hope you had a good time. I definitely did, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.